Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dirty Martini. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're having an amazing day. I just want to give you a quick heads up. I literally just drank 750 milliliters of wine in 15 minutes, and I'm sure that my Balkan ancestors are really proud of me. But what this means is that I will not be sober during this episode. And also, it is the middle of the night. I'm exhausted because I solved 35 statistics problems, each having an A to D sub-questions today. And I'm just exhausted and want to go to bed. But I will not do this until I talk with you, my loves. So today's episode will be nothing like the one I initially planned to have. Initially, I had the idea to talk about a storm of feelings I have been having to deal with since I had to move abroad. And I wanted to explore the guilt that comes with moving to the other side of the continent and missing out on important moments in the lives of people you love. Because those feelings, they never leave. They are a constant part of the living abroad experience, but they're just particularly exacerbated the first week or two after you leave. And I really want to explore this and share it with you because I feel like there is this concept of moving abroad and getting a better life for yourself, and that it is all roses and flowers. And I feel like nobody actually talks about the burden it can be in your emotional well-being. And I want to be transparent with this because it could be helpful if any of you are preparing to go abroad, or even if it is just getting the point of view of the friend who is living abroad and learning to validate their feelings and empathize with them. But this, considering my current state, I guess will be just a topic I will leave for another week because I genuinely don't have it in me to talk about these heavy themes. I just cannot swim in the ocean when I feel like I'm drowning in the pool. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that there is a more pressing issue that we need to talk about. And in particular, it is the very mundane things, the very immediate emotions that I have had to deal with for the past 2 weeks, which are making it difficult for me to dive deeper into such serious topics. And I find it interesting how those really everyday feelings, these maybe even rudimentary thoughts, are preventing me from paying attention to deeper wounds. But I guess a paper cut can also sometimes sting awfully. Look at me being a wine poet. So let's tend to this immediate pain, this immediate stress. And once I have cleared my head and am emotionally ready and physically ready, then only then can I turn to the emotional knot that living abroad is. So today I want to talk about being back in the Netherlands and being back at university. I don't know if I ever shared this with you because I swear after I post an episode, I forget what it was all about. I have no recollection whatsoever. If I have shared this with you, then maybe it's a quick recap, or maybe this is all new information for you. So I decided to pursue a master's degree but I didn't have immediate access to the field I had chosen because of my academic background. I have a bachelor's degree in arts. Well, not yet. My graduation ceremony is in 2 weeks, but I have graduated. I have a degree. And I wanted to pursue a master's degree in business and economics. So for me to bridge those two, for me to bridge the faculty of arts with the faculty of business and economics, I have to do a 1-year pre-master program, which is basically a course that is curated with the intention to bring you up to speed with the knowledge you need to have to be accepted into the master's program. And that is exactly what I am doing right now. I am following a pre-master program. And the academic year started just 2 weeks ago on the 2nd of September. And I came back to the Netherlands on the 1st of September. So I literally had no time to readjust. I arrived, went to bed, and in the morning I was in class. So this immediacy, let's just say that I don't recommend it because it deprived me of the necessary time for adjustment. And now the adjustment and getting back into a routine and getting used to the environment is taking more than it should be, because I need to physically and emotionally readjust while I have 1,000 things on my to-do list and have not had a single second to just take a step back, look around, and breathe. And this seems to be a pattern in my life. I would like to think that I am an adaptive person, but change is exhausting, no matter how adaptive you are. And I feel like it is absolutely human to need a break, to be able to calm down and reassess the situation that you're in the middle of. And I haven't had that privilege. Every single time something changes, and it always feels like there are very significant changes in my life, be it moving countries, graduating, returning to university, switching jobs, losing friends, and so on and so forth. So such massive changes happen, and I never have the luxury to cope with them in a healthy and timely manner because I simply don't have the time. So the process of coping with change is always so much longer and harder than necessary because I keep pushing it back because there are more immediate pressuring things to tend to. And this always bites me in the ass because it all builds up over time, and the more I push it back, the harder it gets. Because on a surface level, I have integrated, I have adapted, but I haven't had the opportunity to sit and reflect on everything that has changed. And I haven't had the time and opportunity to just think, to just sit and deal with this change. Due to lack of time, I just have to accept it and move on as if nothing significant is going on. But in the process of everything around me changing, I change as well. And not having the chance to sit and get to know the person you are becoming can be a bit identity crisis inducing. And this time, this change, coming back, restarting university, new field, new people, new everything, like this was no exception. I am still dealing with changes that happened a while back, and it is a bit difficult to tend to the ones that are happening now. But they are all hitting me like a truck, and they all demand to be felt. And they all demand to be felt immediately, all at once. And that has proven to be very, very draining. I think that is why I enjoyed my Rome holiday so much, because it was, it was a change. It was a new scenery, but I had no responsibility in that new environment. I could just exist. And a great thing I did there is just walking around, not using my headphones even once. I did it out of safety reasons, but it ended up being the best thing for my mental health, because for 5 days straight, it was just me and my emotions. And I know that sounds terrifying. And that was something which I hadn't purposefully done in forever. So it was very foreign and daunting to do. And yeah, it was scary at first. And it was so foreign. But what is the thing that came out of it is that I was able to put out all the noise by tending to it as it comes. I feel like this disconnection should become a more regular practice as I move forward with my life, because I feel like it would allow me to prevent things from building up over months or years and becoming impossible to untangle. But what happened post-Rom clarity? Well, so looking at everything I had to do this summer, I genuinely had 10 days of summer break, including the weekends, and I basically didn't have the opportunity to rest properly. I didn't have the opportunity to clear my head and open a new page, because in those days, I still had lots of things to tend to. So I technically haven't had the time to be by myself and cope with everything I have had to cope with. And I need my alone time to be able to recharge. And I didn't get the privilege to get this alone time. It was very difficult for me to recharge, to come to terms with the fact that I am coming to an entirely new life in the city I have lived in for a couple of years now. And trust me, it is new. It is all new, because I have new housemates. I am pursuing education in an entirely different field, which is proving to be totally different than the one I have a background in. And from my core friend group, there's only one person remaining because everyone else moved away. I am going to a different campus that I have never been in, and it is just a lot. And it is all so jarring because I know the city. It is all so familiar. But because of everything else, it feels so foreign. It feels like I'm back in the UK for my exchange. And I'm not sure I can necessarily explain why I'm making that correlation. But I am. And I have had no success in making new friends. And I want to share this because I feel like nobody is talking about how difficult it is to make friends in your 20s. And I cannot imagine it becoming easier the older I get. Because now I am a somewhat formed individual with somewhat established behaviors and beliefs. I have lots of responsibilities, and in that case, what is left for when I become older and have even more responsibilities and even less time, and I'm an individual with an already set principles and beliefs? What is even more, I basically have no time to socialize. And trust me, I know how ridiculous this sounds. And I don't want anybody coming to me with it's not about having time, it's about making time. I cannot make time for this because I have so many other things that I need to do. I am back in the zone of planning an extra hour of sleep 3 weeks from now because that is all I can afford. And all I do is study and work. And at university, it is more difficult to make friends than it was, for example, in high school. Because in high school, you're spending, or at least the way the educational system works in Bulgaria. So I would spend 40 hours with my classmates every single week. And we were just lost and wandering together. And you just get the opportunity to socialize in class or between classes. And university is just not the same. It is just a lecture with some 300 people, and you sit and listen. And yeah, maybe in a tutorial, you might have the chance to talk to someone, but only for the group project you need to work on together. And it is just not the same. The bond is not the same. The friends I made in university, I am so thankful for. But considering all those aspects, I don't know how we managed to befriend each other and stay friends, because there wasn't necessarily enough room to get to know each other in class or in the break. So shout out to them. I don't know how we did that, but we did that. And at work, it is even more difficult to make friends because there's just no time to socialize, quite literally, because you're so preoccupied with work and you just want to do your job so that you can get your money and go home. Of course, there is small chit chat and I like my co-workers, but there is no room to explore those relationships. So how the hell do people make friends when they become adults? Because I cannot seem to figure it out. And I feel very grateful that I was lucky enough to establish a couple of good friendships in my first year here, when it was all so foreign and new to everyone that we just simply stuck together, be it even out of pure convenience. But to be really honest with you, after year one, as I established my ways of operating, I have made just 2 or 3 friends, and the bond with them, it's just different. Because we all had already established our ways. There wasn't this initial bond that comes with being lost together. And I'm not saying that it is a weak or an unfulfilling or a bad relationship. I'm just saying that it is different. Because when you spend time being lost with someone and you help each other trying to get found, trying to establish yourselves, you naturally are very vulnerable with each other. And it creates a really nice and strong connection because you know each other since before you yourself knew who you are. And now that core group that I established in year 1 is gone. Shout out to the sole remaining soldier. And it just feels very confusing because I lost what I once had. And the thing is, I don't know the Netherlands without those people. And now with them gone, I have to live in the same place geographically, but it is not the same place when it comes to the emotional aspect. I quite literally when I went on my first walk, when I came back, I subconsciously, out of force of habit, took the route my friend and I used to walk from university back together. So, and on my walk, I went to her place because I would always walk her home before I went on my way. And I just started sobbing. That's the moment it finally hit me. That's the moment in which I realized that nothing is the same, including me. And nothing is the same even though I'm in the same place. And I saw this emotion coming the second my friends told me that they will not be continuing their education here. But back then, when they told me this, I was too preoccupied. I was too busy with the thesis and with work, and I was trying my best to spend as much time with them as possible that what I ended up doing is I simply pushed those emotions deep in me and never dealt with them. And now, inevitably, they are resurfacing. And I knew it would suck to feel the way I feel right now, but I didn't know that it would suck this bad. But the thing is, I don't have the time to deal with my emotions because I'm so overwhelmed by university and work. Okay, my job as a job is not too demanding, to be honest. It is just time consuming because I have been working quite a lot to be able to, pay my bills. And also, while we're on this topic, I want to make a quick detour. Why are Christmas tickets an arm and a leg this year? I feel like they've never been this expensive. Do you really, Budget Airlines, do you really want me to work for a month straight, full time, and give you my entire salary just to go home for 10 days? If even? Get a grip on yourselves. I've looked at all possible options, including buses, trains, flights with layovers, direct flights, and I don't know what's going on. I might as well walk from here to Bulgaria. I feel like that is the best option I currently have. If I start today, I could reach home by December. My friend who flies from Amsterdam to Boston spends less money than I do flying from Eindhoven to Sofia. And I'm staying in the same continent. She has a transatlantic flight. Make that make sense. Also, her trip is shorter than mine, which is simply ridiculous because when I land, I have 3 more hours until I get home. So on average, a trip home for me is 15 to 16 hours. Again, staying in Europe. Anyways, thank you for listening to that quick detour. Now let's go back to our topic. Because no matter how much I complain about those prices and no matter how much I complain about the time it takes me to get home, there's nothing I personally can do. So, where was I before that? Yes, being overwhelmed but not having the time to deal with my emotions. Okay, I want to talk about my experience with university for a second now. It is just the second week, and I cannot explain to you how behind I am on everything. I was actually behind before the academic year had even started because we had to plan and do so much preparation prior to the academic year starting, and I simply couldn't manage to do everything in time. So, as I previously mentioned, I have a background in arts. I did my bachelor's degree in media studies, and now I'm doing a 180 and turning to business and economics. Now, why did I make this decision? Well, when I was in the UK for my exchange last year, I took a course in business, and I just found it very interesting, very fascinating. It was, of course, an introductory course because I had no prior knowledge of and experience in the field, but it was genuinely my most favorite class I took there. Apart from maybe cybercrime. But who wouldn't like cybercrime? Okay, well, you study a lot of disturbing stuff, so maybe not everyone. But anyways, I found it fascinating. But that business course, it was a course called Fundamentals of Marketing. And we just studied, the basics of marketing. We studied theory, we learned about its application, we wrote a report on a business with the idea of advising them how to expand their presence in a market. And by the way, I did mine on Five Guys, which is ironic because I never once bought Five Guys while I was in the UK because they were ridiculously overpriced. And I was there on a very tight budget. So yeah, anyways. But this course really sparked my interest in marketing because it presented marketing to me as the perfect mixture of structure and creativity that I was looking for. So what I did after I came back from the UK is I went home, I got some textbooks from the library, and I just started studying. And I read a lot of books, and my interest was ever increasing. And I thought that I should explore this newfound passion because in particular, what I find fascinating is the creation of a marketing campaign, not so much the analysis of the data. And I felt like my background knowledge in media and my personal creativity, because I would like to think of myself as a creative person, so I felt like those things I could really nicely combine, because to market something to someone, you need to know how to do it, what channel to use, how to use that channel. And basically what I did the past 3 years is I spent those 3 years extensively studying why is it that we use the media that we use and what happens when we use it. So I understand the psychology and physiology of media usage, And I believe that this would give me a really nice advantage, or at least a solid basis to step on when it comes to the creation of a marketing campaign. Because I long to create. I long to be creative. I just want to make art, but I know that the things I want are not necessarily profitable. And well, I need to make a living to survive. So that art that I'm interested in, I can practice as a hobby and find something, even if it just remotely is similar to that, and make money out of it. Because I don't care what anybody says. We all need to make a living, and sometimes making a living takes sacrifices, because turning your passion into something lucrative is not always possible and is not always successful, even if when it is possible. There is a big portion of luck, and nobody can convince me otherwise. And yes, I may be hustling and I may be making my own luck, but it doesn't always work like this. So until I figure out those things, I need to somehow earn money. So what I did is I researched my opportunities with a master's degree and all the universities I was interested in, and to be honest with you, all the universities I could afford to go to wanted me to have a background in business administration. And because I didn't, that meant I had to do a pre-master. So I started researching my pre-master options, and I decided to do this stage of my education in the Netherlands, because by the time I had to apply, I had just come back from the UK and I didn't have it in me mentally or physically to move countries again. I did a more extensive research than I did when I chose my bachelor's degree, because with that I feel like I went in kind of blind. But now I wanted to make the right decision, even if it was the right decision just for the time being, even if that is not the right decision for me 10 years from now. So after that, I decided to, after all, stay in the city in which I have lived in for the past 3 years and continue my education at the same university, just at a different faculty. And there are a few reasons I had for me to choose to stay. First of all, the program here definitely included courses that I found interesting compared to what other universities had to offer. And it included the least amount of mathematics and statistics, but we will come back to this in a second. Second of all, as I already mentioned, I didn't have it in me to move again. And third of all, I couldn't afford to move out, because the place I'm staying at, yes, it has its disadvantages. There's no denying it. Yes, the heating doesn't always work. Yes, the hot water doesn't work all the time. Yes, we have mice. Yes, the washing machine takes at least 3.5 hours to finish a single rapid cycle. And yes, the fridge is leaking. And yes, the landlords don't want to do anything about any of those things. But my rent for the Netherlands is cheap. And I don't know if you're familiar with the housing crisis in the Netherlands right now, but it is terrible. And in this economy, and with me being unable to work full-time because of university, so only doing part-time, I need to stay at a place where I can afford to pay my bills. And the place I have here is that place. So, be it even out of pure monetary reasons, I couldn't even think about moving elsewhere. I kid you not, going back to Bulgaria would cost me more money than staying here. So, for this purely practical reason, it is not like I had much choice. Maybe I need to quickly clarify why I decided to do a master's degree overall. Because I feel like maybe some of you will relate, or even if you don't relate, it will offer you a different perspective. Well, the reason I chose to do a master's degree is because I feel extremely lost and I don't know what I want to do with my life. So I thought it would be the most logical decision. Marketing is something that I was interested in and am still interested in. But I knew that my pure interest in the field was not going to be enough of a justification to get a job in that field, to get a job that I enjoy. And also, this is a way for me to expand my knowledge, not only academically, but also get to learn more about that interest and see if it is actually something that I want to pursue. Because how do I know if I enjoy something unless I do it? And by the way, I am open to the opportunity of not liking it and doing something else. I am just so done with the structure of forcing myself to do something simply because I feel like I have no choice. And the reason I decided not to give myself a gap year, even though in retrospect, maybe this is what I should have done. So the reason I chose to not do a gap year is because I know myself. And I know that when I start working full-time and make enough money to support myself, I will have no incentive. I will have no desire. I will have no ambition to go back to studying. I have talked about this with some people and they keep telling me that that's not the case, but I know myself better than anyone else. And I know that if I don't do it now, I will not do it at all. And this lifetime is something that I want to do. And because it is something that I want to do, I know that I have to do it now. Because if I leave it for later, if I leave it for this metaphorical tomorrow, I fear that this metaphorical tomorrow will never actually arrive. So basically what I decided to do is suck it up for a couple of more years while I still have the academic inertia and get it done. I thought the time will pass anyways, so might as well do something with it. And even if it ends up being something I never want to do again in my life, at least I feel like I'm not wasting my time necessarily, which is a topic that I want to explore further, but let's not do it now because the wine is wearing off and I feel like I'm about to cry if I do go into that deep hole. As I said in the beginning of this episode, let's tend to the immediate surface problems and only then dive deeper into this bit. But the thing is, I chose to do a master's degree. For the time being, it seems like the right and logical decision, and it is something that I want to do. I don't know if in the future it will be something I look back on and regret, or if this will be my saving grace, but I cannot know unless I do it. Because I do have a vague end goal in mind, and reaching that goal would require me to have the necessarily qualifications that I am to obtain from that master's degree. And let's be real. There is this societal pressure that, first of all, the 20s are the best time of your life. And second of all, that you need to get your life sorted the second you don't have the word teen at the end of your age. And I would like to think that the 20s are not going to be the best time of my life. Because if that is all the best, if that is the best, then what is left for the rest of my life? If this confusion, if this lack of direction, if this loneliness and stress are the best life has to offer to me, then what is the point? If life was good only in your 20s, why do people keep living after that? No, I hate this narrative because it is putting so much pressure into making your life perfect, and also it creates a narrative that once you're no longer in your 20s, you are no longer in your prime. And I hate this. I hate it so much. It fills me with rage like nothing else. Yes, the 20s have their advantages. I am still young, but entering adulthood, my 20s are a transitionary period. And what is the point of living only for the sake of that transitionary period? The point of a transition is to get you somewhere. So don't ever try to bullshit me into saying that the 20s are and should be the best years of my life. If they were yours, I'm sorry. But also, I'm happy that you got to live a prime. When it comes to me, though, I don't plan on putting myself into that box. I plan on giving my life a meaning even after my 20s. Because what does that, saying that the 20s are the best years of your life, what does this imply? That the first 19 years of your life were a waste? I don't think so. Because the meaning of the 20s, the way I see it now, only being 22, so still in my early 20s, their meaning, their purpose is to find yourself. I don't have my life figured out. I don't know what I want to do, and I don't know who I want to be. I'm just now starting to explore adulthood, because I have been an adult for only 4 years now legally, on paper. And I will be an adult for the rest of my life. So when you think about it, I am a toddler adult, and I just simply don't know how to navigate it. And I am sick and tired of the societal pressure that I'm supposed to know everything about life and everything about myself the second I turn 20. I have no clue what I want to cook for dinner tomorrow, let alone what I want from life. Leave me the fuck alone. And because I felt extremely overwhelmed by this pressure to have everything neatly organized and figured out, I decided to continue my education instead of simply standing there in the middle of the mess and wondering what to make of it all. On the one hand, it was definitely the safest bet because, yes, it is a new academic field. But the entire concept of it all is nothing new to me. So there's no denying it. It is like I am postponing life, but I'm also making sure to be making investments in myself and my future. Because studying, being a student, is all I've ever known. I am familiar with it. I am familiar with that label, with that concept, with that box, with that lifestyle. My entire life, I have been a student. I started school at 7, now I'm 22, and the entirety of my, let's call it conscious life. So the entirety of my conscious life, I have spent studying. And there's no denying it. Pursuing something which I'm not familiar with is scary, which is another reason I decided to continue my education. Because that is all I have ever known. And another reason, and I mentioned it earlier, is because I thought the time will pass anyway. I will be confused anyway. I will be confused trying to navigate the new environment anyway. I will be confused trying to navigate the new stage of my life, the new me. So I might as well make something out of it. I might as well, in the process of confusion, do something which will benefit me in a later stage. I might as well have one secure thing in all of this uncertainty. Because again, studying feels familiar and secure. And at the time, that felt like the best decision. And I still think it is the most logical decision. It is just that I'm tired. I'm exhausted. All I want to do is just lay on my bed and rest. I want to just enjoy the simplicity that life could potentially have. But I cannot, because I have an end goal in mind. And it is very difficult to focus on the end goal and keep on pushing. It is difficult to stay motivated and know that it will all be worth it in the long run when in the immediate now you don't know how to take the next step. When you're exhausted to put one foot in front of the other. When all you want to do is cancel out the noise in your head and push through it. It is difficult to stay consistent when you're consistently challenged mentally, emotionally, and physically. Which is why I'm so grateful that the way I was brought up, discipline was very significantly highlighted. Because in days like these, in days when I'm confused, tired, lack motivation, want to throw it all away, in days like these, I'm disciplined. And I still put one foot in front of the other. No matter how much it costs me. I still show up for myself. And if that's all I can do, then that's all I can do. I am trying to learn that it is okay to not make any steps some days. I am trying to learn to be forgiving enough and let myself fall. To let myself make mistakes and let myself not have it all sorted out. But it is difficult because I just know I need to keep on going, and I need to learn that slowing down is not the same as giving up. And I just cannot help but wonder if I'm making a huge mistake by doing the things I'm doing. Did I do something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? And most importantly, is this end goal still the thing I really, really want out of this life? Is this the thing I want for myself? Because I was very excited to pursue this new academic field. I was excited to learn more, to be more. But I am exhausted. I wouldn't necessarily call it a burnout. And at this very moment, it is very difficult for me to tell if it is just pure exhaustion or if the end goal has changed. Because I am so overwhelmed. And the thing that made me realize how exhausted I am, the thing that really pushed me over the edge, and the thing thanks to which I press record today, and I'm talking all of this nonsense now, is because of this one particular course that I'm taking. It enrages me. It makes my blood boil. It makes me question the meaning of my existence and makes me hate everything and anything. I know this will sound extremely stupid, but what is making me question it all is my statistics course. Go on. You can laugh. I would laugh too if I didn't cry every time I thought about statistics. Anyways, so the school year started, and it felt like it was just 2 weeks prior that I submitted my thesis, so I didn't have enough time to cool down and prepare myself. I had no time to prepare myself for the emotional transition, as we already covered, but I also had no time to prepare myself for the academic transition. And so now I'm back in class and I'm doing things so unrelated to everything I have done for the past 3 years. And I feel like I need to unlearn certain things that I was forced to learn in these 3 years. Because in my bachelor's, I was encouraged to think creatively. But now, everything is so dry and following a certain recipe. And there is no room for creativity. And it is just not who I am. It is just not who I was taught to be. And it is all a bit too much. But statistics, man, that's it. That is the bane of my existence. A big chunk of my friends took statistics in their degrees, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure that there is someone who passed statistics from the first try. And now I understand why. The question is, will I be continuing the pattern, or is there the opportunity for me to break it? I really hope I just pass this course. I don't give a crap about the grade. I just want it to be over. And yes, it is just week 2. But it makes no sense in my head. And I see the usability of it all. But I just cannot do anything with that material. It is not the way I think. It is not the way I operate. Because when I think of something, I think of it creatively. I try to dissect it creatively. I don't think of it in a matter of numbers and tables. I want to do marketing, not marketing. I want to Emily in Paris that shit. I just want to be creative and express myself. I don't want to sit and rack my brain trying to figure out what the ratio of female to male buyers suggests. So statistics is single-handedly making me question how much I want all of this. I think it is exactly this course and the material that are sending me down that spiral that I'm currently in. Because I have never felt more helpless and I have never felt more stupid than I do now when I have to calculate I don't even know what. Statistics is making me question every single decision that I have ever made, which led me to this moment. Everything else that I'm studying, I'm finding enjoyable and interesting. So at least I have this. But the hate I feel towards statistics, it's just all-consuming. And I will put all the effort necessary to pass this course. Because I am not letting that bitch degrade me. I'm not letting that bitch make me fall down into pieces, even though that's where I'm already headed. I will persist because I have no other choice. Because I just want to get it over with, and never again do I want to open SPSS. I don't know how to operate it. And opening SPSS every single time is making me question how much of a Gen Z I am, because I've never had more difficulty trying to operate anything computer related. I never again want to calculate distributions and whatever else. I know I will pull through it because, again, I simply have no other choice. To reach my goal, I need to get through this. I don't want to give up. But statistics is my 13th reason. And if statistics has no haters, then I am dead. If I hate nothing on this planet, then statistics is eradicated from humanity. Watch me eat my words in a minute and become a data analyst because I end up figuring out how to do statistics and start enjoying it. Honestly, I could see this happening for myself because every single time I try to avoid something, it ends up being something that I love and ends up being something that I strive to reach or strive to be. I don't know, man. I don't know. The thing is, I love math, but statistics, it is not math. Or at least not pure math. Not the math I used to study in high school. There are too many words and not enough numbers for me to find it enjoyable. I don't know, man. I'm confused. And instead of sitting here complaining how much I'm struggling with statistics, maybe I should get off the mic and actually go study and try to figure it out. But to be honest, it is 2 a.m. currently, and I'm exhausted, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm starting to lose my voice. So, considering that I spent over 8 hours straight studying today, doing just statistics exercises, maybe it is time for me to go to bed. So, thank you for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed this trauma dumping session. I know that I did. It is exactly what I needed. And now that I've expressed my anger and confusion and my tipsiness is practically gone, I feel lighter. So now it's the time to finally go and get some well-deserved rest so that I can wake up and live miserably with SPSS. Well, guys, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye!